7 minutes. That's all it took for Tiffany Henyard to be out as the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township Supervisor, and she left here visibly upset.
New drama tonight involving a controversial politician in the south suburbs. Tiffany Henyard was the only Thornton Township leader to show up.
The drama involving Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dothan, Illinois, has reached new heights with charges of misuse public funds, voting suppression, angry public meetings, and even an eviction. Scandal Henyard continues to dominate the spotlight, whether as a determined leader battling the odds or a divisive figure driven by unrestrained ambition. One thing is certain, neither she nor her critics are backing down.
Clickbait, huh? I guess anything else? I get sued all the time. Y'all.
The latest twist in Mayor Tiffany Henyard's story is her open rejection of a judge's orders and her bold claim that she is unconcerned about the legal and procedural issues she confronts. This comes from a mayor who, despite a mounting list of problems, has managed to maintain her job and has even announced her candidature for re-election, doubling down on her attitude. Henyard's confidence, or perhaps sheer daring, has astounded many in the community. But what is causing this upheaval? Let us break it down.
The judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval.
Henyard's woes worsened earlier this month when she was denied a position on the Thorntons Township Supervisor election ballot. The problem was that her list of applicants was inadequate. She needed a qualified assessor, which was a prerequisite for seeking for the position. Unsurprisingly, Henyard did not take the decision calmly. During the caucus, she accused her political competitors, particularly Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris, of rigging the system against her. In a violent outburst, Henyard declared the entire process unconstitutional and threatened to sue everyone involved. "You didn't run any of this the right way," she cried, pointing her gaze at Harris, who also serves as the Democratic Party committee person for Thornton Township. Harris has categorically refuted Henyard's allegations, claiming that the caucus process was completely legitimate. He explained that while caucuses are foreign to many Thornton Township residents due to their rarity, they have a lengthy history in other townships across the state. Critics of Henyard claim that Harris purposefully picked the caucus system over a primary election to prevent Henyard from running for re-election. Henyard agrees, arguing that if her opponents were confident they could defeat her, they would have chosen a primary. Instead, she has fiercely lambasted the caucus procedure, describing it as unjust and exclusionary.
To win, but let's do it properly and let the people really have a voice. The people's voice was...
With barely 600 seats available, the caucus at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium turned chaotic. Many of Henyard's supporters, some of whom arrived late on township buses, were left to wait outside in frigid temperatures. Henyard claims this was a deliberate attempt to suppress her voters, stating guests were allowed in at a slow speed, resulting in a large queue of people stretching around the block. Following her defeat, Henyard expressed her dissatisfaction during a protest decrying the conditions her supporters faced. Her boyfriend, K.L. Woods, also expressed his displeasure, accusing a local reporter of distorting the events and asking that they broadcast the truth.
Judge today declining to hold her in contempt, but did warn her that if she did not follow the ruling.
Harris and his staff responded quickly to Henyard's allegations. His attorney, Burton Odson, defended the process as fair and in compliance with established procedures. "This is the process that existed long before my time." Odson remarked that he is only executing his duties as a committee member by holding a caucus. He also stated that the caucus rules were made available in advance, which Henyard camp rejects. Despite her loss, Henyard is not giving up. She has already announced preparations to run as a write-in candidate, and her supporters remain optimistic about her chances. "I believe enough people know her name to write her in, and I believe we can still win," said Keith Price, a Henyard ally. Nevertheless, with her name removed from the Democratic ticket for the first time in decades, it's apparent she has a difficult battle.
Even if
home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now
Henyard's legal problems go far beyond the Thornton Township caucus. She is also entangled in a bitter feud with her landlord, who claims Henyard and her boyfriend, K.L. Woods, haven't paid rent in months. According to the landlord, Henyard owes thousands of dollars in overdue rent and has
Even if
the locks
Henyard
on
and
the
Woods
home
come
to
up
prevent
with
the
the money,
landlord
Hull
from
has made
entering.
it clear she
The
wants them out
landlady,
for good.
who once
On a
considered
month-to-month
herself
lease,
a friend of Henyard, has now filed eviction papers, though attempts to serve them have been unsuccessful. And as mayor, you'd want someone to promote positive community values. The landlord stated that instead, they act as if they can do whatever they want. This eviction. The saga is only one of the controversies that have marred Henyard's tenure in power. Earlier this year, the FBI initiated an investigation against her administration, focusing on claims of excessive spending and mismanagement of public monies. According to reports, Henyard has spent tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on questionable costs, such as luxury trips, extravagant dinners, and, probably most shockingly, a $85,000 performance. Henyard allegedly spent more than $43,000 on Amazon shopping in one day.
Tonight, if you don't get the Democratic Party's nomination.
What do you mean? I will be victorious tonight. You will see. My people are here.
Critics have also questioned Henyard's leadership style, portraying her as arrogant and contemptuous of her co-workers. During a recent village board meeting, she stated, "I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor, not the trustees who do nothing." Such aggressive rhetoric has further worsened the schism inside Dalton's administration, with trustees openly questioning her authority and accusing her of mismanagement. "I feel like I'm in a dictatorship," trustee remarked. Brittany Norwood is one of Henyard's most ardent critics. The way she behaves to the trustees is reminiscent of a mentally abusive relationship. Adding to the controversy is Henyard's apparent disregard for the potential long-term consequences of her decisions. By appointing unqualified individuals such as Burge to key positions, she risks undermining the Dalton Police Department's effectiveness, while also exposing the town to significant legal liabilities. Consider the following scenario. The department's inexperienced leadership causes a vital problem to be handled poorly. The consequences might be disastrous, not only for Henyard's management, but also for Dalton inhabitants who are already dealing with high crime rates and financial difficulties.
Clown! We will continue to speak out against wrongdoing.
Why won't you step down?
The pattern of questionable selections reaches far beyond. Burge's detractors have pointed out her tendency to choose people with questionable histories or personal links, leading to accusations of nepotism and favoritism. Former police chief Louis Lacey, another of Henyard's choices, was recently arrested for bankruptcy fraud. Lacey's financial malfeasance and tight relationship with Henyard have only increased criticism, with many accusing her of putting allegiance ahead of competency and public responsibility. Residents are questioning if Henyard is actually operating in Dalton's best interests or simply retaining control in the face of mounting criticism. Henyard remains steadfast, alleging she is the object of political attacks and that her opponents are working against her. Why is Tiffany Henyard getting so much attention? She inquired during a recent Facebook Live session. What are they doing that they don't want us to know about while they're distracting us over here? Henyard has even hinted at starting a podcast to explain her side of the tale, but no additional information has been revealed. Meanwhile, the neighborhood remains deeply divided. Online comments show the polarized views around her leadership. Some believed she was going to prison for stealing millions. One reviewer mentioned ongoing inquiries into her financial transactions, while another voiced frustration, claiming Tiff has mental issues and needs to be checked. She is extremely unstable. Lord, please remove her from that throne and cease giving her control. These comments highlight the community's deep differences, as Henyard's term continues to be fraught with controversy and upheaval.
Keep the finger to Tiffany or allow me. I'm over it. Now it's time for me.
The selection of Ronald Burge as Dalton's interim police chief has exacerbated the town's ongoing crisis. Burge, whose law enforcement certification is no longer valid, was selected by Henyard despite repeated warnings from the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board. The board has stated unequivocally that Burge cannot serve in any law enforcement capacity until he has completed the necessary requalification. Trustees have filed legal challenges to block Burge's appointment, claiming it is illegal and a flagrant disregard for legitimate governance. Henyard has defended her choice, describing the response as a politically motivated attempt to undermine her leadership. During a recent meeting, she dismissed the criticism, calling it an attempt to damage her name. Critics, however, believe that Henyard's decision to pick an unprepared police head exemplifies a larger trend of valuing loyalty over skill. One trustee questioned the decision, citing Burge's incapacity to carry a firearm and doubting his fitness to head a department. Many in Dalton share these concerns, as irritation mounts amid yet another leadership crisis, court battles escalating, an ongoing FBI investigation, and growing public unrest. Henyard's position as mayor and township supervisor becomes increasingly questionable, although she remains. At a recent event, she stood firm and expressed faith in her supporters, claiming that her great popularity in Thornton Township inspires her determination to succeed.
A Cook County court has reversed some of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's decisions. At last night's village board meeting, Henyard announced a 30-day temporary...
Is Tiffany Henyard a misunderstood leader fighting a crooked system, or a politician whose unbridled ambition has led her wrong with each new turn in this story? Dalton locals and the rest of us are left wondering what comes next. Will Henyard's fortitude get her through, or will the increasing weight of her troubles eventually bring her down? Share your opinions in the comments section and stay tuned for additional developments on this developing story.